Dog Pound, you need to hear this right now. A massive crisis just hit Berea, and it threatens to completely derail our defense this season. We are talking about a catastrophic shortage in the trenches that has the front office scrambling for emergency reinforcements before the preseason even kicks off. If you bleed brown and orange, you cannot miss this update. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel immediately to stay on top of every move our team makes right now. We have a serious problem stopping the run if this nightmare continues. As Cleveland Browns fans, we're all too aware that training camp is where champions are forged and roster battles are won. But this year, it seems we have a significant problem brewing that caught us off guard. The main news from this week's camp sessions is a glaring lack of depth at the defensive tackle position, to the point where, as Daniel Oyefusi reported on Tuesday, unheralded players like Aden Huntington and Elijah Chapman are consistently taking reps with the #1 defense. This isn't just a minor concern. It points to a serious depth crisis for a unit that's absolutely critical to our team's success. Our defensive line, especially the tackles, is the engine that drives our run defense and interior pass rush, something we've come to rely on heavily. What makes this even bigger is that this isn't just about one or two guys. Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., Kalia Davis, and Malik Collins, including Collins, who is rehabilitating a quad injury on the PUP list, were all held out of practice for various reasons, exposing how thin we truly are. The team has reacted quickly, signing Travis Bell and claiming Keziah Izzard from waivers after his time with the Kansas City Chiefs. But these are clearly stopgap measures. For us, as fans, this news hits hard because a strong defensive interior is non-negotiable for a contender, and seeing so many key players sidelined, forcing unknowns into starting roles, immediately sparks worry about our ability to stop the run and pressure opposing quarterbacks. The anxiety is palpable, especially with the season just around the corner, as we wonder what the true status is of our starting defensive tackles. It's truly alarming to hear that Aden Huntington and Elijah Chapman are already taking consistent reps with our #1 defense in early August, a clear signal of deeper issues with our defensive tackle depth. This isn't an overnight problem. It's the culmination of Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., Kalia Davis, and notably Malik Collins on the PUP list with a quad injury, all being held out of practice. Collins' prolonged absence alone is a significant blow, forcing immediate action. The team's swift moves to sign Travis Bell and claim Keziah Izzard from the Kansas City Chiefs via waivers show the front office and Coach Monken are aware, but these are short-term bandages. Bell only practiced against the second team, and Izzard's prior lack of experience underscores the current desperation. We're discussing potentially needing an 8-year veteran like Bilal Nichols, who struggled to stay on the field for 2 years, just for depth. Or in a true case of emergency, even former Browns defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey, released by the Dallas Cowboys, is being considered. As Cleveland Browns fans, we've unfortunately seen this scrambling for defensive line help before. It often signals roster vulnerabilities, echoing past attempts to bolster this exact position that didn't stick. Here's the thing nobody wants to say. Behind closed doors, our front office and coaching staff are surely calculating the immediate risk to our run defense and pass pressure. Coach Monken knows a thin defensive line directly compromises our ability to stop the run, foundational to our defensive identity. They're looking beyond practice to preseason and the potential for a weak point. All right, Browns fans, so that's the news itself. Now let's get into what it actually means for our team. The immediate issue here, a serious lack of defensive tackle depth, matters right now because it strikes at the core of our defensive identity. If we can't stop the run or generate interior pressure, our entire scheme is compromised. This isn't just a minor camp hiccup, it's a foundational crack. On the roster, seeing Aden Huntington and Elijah Chapman consistently with the first team means we're running extremely thin, especially with key players like Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., Kalia Davis, and Malik Collins sidelined. Collins, now on the PUP list with a quad injury, underscores the long-term concern. While Travis Bell and Keziah Izzard were brought in, they're depth pieces forced into roles well beyond their experience. And any further free agent signings, like a Bilal Nichols, would likely be for an affordable contract as a stopgap. This situation undoubtedly impacts our upcoming preseason games, where inexperienced players will be tested far more intensely than anticipated. For the regular season, this could mean opposing teams relentlessly pounding the ball up the middle or giving their quarterbacks extra time in the pocket, especially in crucial early matchups. And the more I look at this, the competitive balance against our division rivals like the Bengals and Steelers shifts. They'll exploit any weakness up front, making those pivotal games even tougher. A compromised defensive interior directly threatens our playoff chances, as we rely so heavily on a stout defense. We need our key guys back on the field and fast. It's easy to look at the defensive tackle situation and feel a wave of panic, but let's consider the upside. This forced opportunity means young players like Auden Huntington and Elijah Chapman are getting crucial, consistent reps with the first-team defense, as reported by Daniel Oyefusi. This invaluable experience accelerates their development, potentially unearthing future depth or even starters for our Browns. The quick actions to bring in Travis Bell and claim Coziah Izzard via waivers also shows the front office actively plugging holes, not just hoping for the best. However, the flip side is a serious problem for our entire defense. A lack of interior linemen compromises our run defense and interior pressure, negating our strong edge rushers. With Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., and Kalia Davis out, and Maliette Collins on the PUP list with a quad injury, our depth chart is alarmingly thin for the preseason. NFL analysts and observers are taking serious notice. They're already pointing to veteran free agents like Bilal Nichols, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals, as an affordable depth signing, and some have even mentioned former Browns defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey, released by the Dallas Cowboys, as an emergency option. The bottom line here is, this is a genuine concern needing resolution before week 1. My honest take here is that while the immediate situation is unsettling and we absolutely need those key players back, I think some crisis rhetoric is premature if many of these current absences are indeed precautionary. This team has shown resilience, and with proactive additions and the eventual return of our starters, I trust they'll navigate this, but it bears close watching. So, taking this concerning defensive tackle situation and looking at its potential ripple effect, it paints a rather clear, if slightly unsettling picture for our team's immediate future. This isn't merely a training camp inconvenience, it's a glaring spotlight on a critical position that could significantly impact our franchise direction over the next few seasons. If key players like Mason Graham and Maliette Collins, who is dealing with a quad injury putting him on the PUP list, continue to miss time, our defensive line might be a recurring area of concern. The immediate need to sign Travis Bell and claim Coziah Izzard via waivers indicates the front office understands this. But if we have to rely on newer, less experienced players, or emergency signings like former Brown Perrion Winfrey or 8-year veteran Bilal Nichols, it could force a reevaluation of long-term defensive line strategy and investment in future drafts or free agency. As Cleveland Browns fans, how should we feel heading into the season? We should definitely be concerned, but not outright panicking. Training camp is the time for these issues to surface, allowing management to react. The quick moves to add depth show awareness, and we should hope for swift returns for our key players. The part fans are not ready for is how quickly a strong roster can be tested by